be in the dietetics option. And this portfolio began for me, which would be great if I brought it up for you. This portfolio actually started in the scholarly portfolio kind of base, and then progressing through dietetics, our director, Professor Cox, really realized that as dietitians, we're going to need to be able to communicate with our consumers, and we're going to need that outlet that we're going to be able to take with us beyond graduation and into our careers. And so the goal of our e-portfolio is not only to advertise ourselves as professionals and getting ready to go to graduate schools and dietetic internships, but also how do we communicate nutrition, an extremely complex subject, to our consumers. And so my passion in dietetics is metabolism, and I love every pathway that glucose and fat and protein can go through the body, but I recognize that consumers either don't care how glucose gets all the way through into their cells, or it's just too complicated. And so my goal is to take my nutrition book smarts to your fridge and table and make it into something that you can really understand. And so I really hope that this is going to be able to display my passions in my profession, while also giving me the opportunity to speak to my future consumers and to future professionals. And so I'm going to take you through my categories. And the first category is academically me. And so each category has a little introduction of what you're going to be able to find on these pages and through the tabs on it. So in academics, this is my passion. My roommate jokes with me that school is my marathon, and I love school and I just keep going. And so I really believe that this is my highlight, and this is my biggest pride and joy through 4 years at Virginia Tech. And so I also have this tab issue. Oh, I figured it out. Okay, and this has actually just been a little bit adjusted. And this is the Meet the RD to Be, which is a Twitter hashtag that's really growing, and PhD student, because I was recently accepted into a PhD program. And so this is kind of going beyond the classroom. Who am I as a student, and who am I as a person? And so I chose this picture as the first picture in the PowerPoint because I started out as a dancer, and I never wanted to go into academics. So that's how I introduce myself. I say I never imagined myself in school. But here I am. And so this really just shows you both my professional and personal side of myself, followed by short-term and long-term goals. And I really love this quote by C.S. Lewis, that you are never too old to set a new goal or a new dream. And that is because we're always setting goals and you're always dreaming. And so if you go through the tabs, oops, we're going to have that issue, sorry. Academic journey. And so, like I said, that this is my mecca. I love academics, and I started my academic journey page this year as a culmination in medical nutrition therapy. And my paragraph is an essay that I wrote about the meaning of human nutrition and foods and exercise in this major, and my role as a student and how I've grown so much. And so I have lived the life of a Hokie, and I will always be a Hokie. And so I chose to highlight a piece of work that I have displayed in classes throughout the years. And so as year one, I was not a human nutrition, foods, and exercise student. I was an English student. And exactly English. I was actually introduced to ePortfolio in English before, and I said, oh, I'm never going to see that again. I saw it again. And so I displayed an essay that I wrote as an English student, and I opened it to read it to make sure that it was appropriate to display on this site. And I wanted to change so many things beyond 4 years, but I made the conscious decision not to change anything in the essay, because I believe that as you come down into year 4 in my progressive growth, in the final destination still to come, I really do believe that you can see that I've grown so much from my writing abilities. And so we go on to related experiences. In dietetics, we are exposed to food service, clinical, and community. And so it's important that I'm displaying myself to potential employers and to internship directors, and that I've had experience in all of these areas. And so I've given you my resume because it's pretty extensive in a button format, but I've also highlighted 3 experiences that I think are the bulk of my experience in dietetics. And I've given a little synopsis of what I've done in this experience and how I've grown from it. And so I've worked in a hospital, at a camp, and in Virginia Beach Public Schools when we were redesigning the National School Lunch Program menus. Academic achievement, like I said, my mecca. I really do believe that real knowledge must be worked for, and I have worked very hard over the past 4 years in dietetics, and I'm proud of everything I have done. These tabs have filled up as we've gone through classes, and I couldn't wait to fill in clinical nutrition. When I presented this to Professor Cox last year in communicating the food, I didn't have anything in my clinical nutrition section, and it was a little bit depressing. And so I've had the opportunity to complete projects in medical nutrition therapy over the past year that I can continue to add to this tab. And it's just examples of my work and the diversity of the profession of dietetics and where we can go with it. And so I'm extremely excited to add to this tab and to take away a couple things as I add new things. And then my biggest accomplishment is my undergraduate research. I work in a metabolic lab under Dr. Matthew Holber, the head of HNFE, and it has helped me to grow so much. And so my main thing here is research is ever growing, the profession of dietetics is growing, and we need research to take us to the next step. And so I am very much a big bench to bedside proponent, and I hope to work on the bench side and on the bedside, because as a dietitian I have the opportunity to do both. But I really just want to explain the picture, because I came into the lab and everyone that knows me knows that I was a terrible pipetter. And a PhD student that I worked with just could not believe this. And I talked to Dr. Holber and he just said, I don't know what's wrong. And I can be honest right now, I ran a PCR on Tuesday, and I'm still pretty sure that I'm still not that great at pipetting. And so that's something that I'm still constantly trying to grow at. And it's a difficulty for me personally, to say, oh my gosh, why can't I get this skill? And then the undergraduate I work with comes in and he does it right the first time. And so I don't know what it is, but I'm going to keep working on it. And then my passion for service has been a huge part of who I am. And my passion is eating disorder awareness from a personal history and just from my experience throughout Virginia Tech. And so I have worked to create Making Strides Towards Healthy Lives, which is a eating disorder awareness walk and body image awareness walk that I started with a fellow dietetics student who has graduated and become a registered dietitian, and taken that over from her, and I hope it will continue as I leave Virginia Tech. And it was canceled this year because of rain. So let me just say, but I really do hope that this will bring body image awareness to Virginia Tech and the importance of nutrition and for caring for our bodies, and that is so much of what my passion in dietetics is. And so I've displayed a nice slideshow that the pictures are taken by my roommate, Kaylee Proctor, who we will see many beautiful pictures soon. And then I've also become involved with a fellow registered dietitian in Texas for the International Federation of Eating Disorder Dietitians. And it is my job to grow their membership and to communicate with students. And I had no idea that that was a huge passion of mine, of communicating with students and advertising to them and saying, hey, come to my program and let me get you volunteer experiences. And so this is something that I want to continue growing professionally as a student liaison. And then finally, I have my blog, and it's an external link, and it's called Metabolic Musings. And it's my opportunity to share my passion for going out to restaurants, for connecting my confusion with nutrition of, oh, is this good for me, is this bad for me, and just giving my consumers that bench to bedside, that nutrition bookmarks to their fridge and table. And so that is my blog opportunity. And you can access my blog either through here or connecting with me on Twitter, LinkedIn, or email. So that's my e-portfolio. And like I said, my goal is to communicate with consumers. I learned that in communicating with food. And I think it's something that is extremely difficult for scientists to do. And I hope that through going through my PhD and going through my registered dietitian supervised practice, that is what I'm going to be able to